you found yourself entering the modern age of a Civ 7 game and just unable to get exactly the right synergy that you want? Well, you're in the right place. Hey everyone, this is Connor from Civ House, here today to talk about my top 5 absolute favorite leader and civilization combinations for the modern age. If you've followed the channel for a little bit, you've probably seen these videos for the Antiquity Age and the Exploration Age, and so we figured we needed to round out the series, and so we're here today to talk about the modern age. So a few caveats before we get into this. I have tried to make a combination that suits roughly all the different win conditions, so they're going to be at least touched on here. And a lot of these are also going to, or actually all of them rather, are going to have suggested Antiquity Age and Exploration Age civs. Again, with the understanding that most players are probably playing these games all the way through from the beginning. So we're going to have recommendations for all of those as well. And those will take into account unlocking the civ that we're talking about here so that we can, again, set up as good as possible of a combination for the modern age. So let's look at our first combination, which is actually going to be Augustus with one of the new civs, and that is going to be with Great Britain here. So the synergies here are honestly pretty straightforward. Rob actually in another video talked about Augustus as kind of one of his highlights for the best civ to go with Great Britain, and I completely agree. This one, you're going to be working through the game. Our suggestions are that you start with either Rome or Carthage in the Antiquity Age, and then in Exploration, you either look for the Normans or Spain. But the whole plan for this combination is expansion. It is getting as many towns as you can, not really worrying about converting them into cities, and really the way you get those towns is also up to your playstyle. You can be more of a conqueror, Augustus, or you can be more of a, you know, just kind of settling towns on your own. Honestly, anything can really work here, but again, this is all about expansion. So you're getting as many towns as you can. Obviously, this is going to give you the gold towards purchasing buildings and production towards constructing buildings. You do get penalized here for converting towns into cities, but again, we don't really worry about that. We get the Battersea Power Station cheaper, and then we get some great units here. The units are also, and also the quarter, are not necessarily huge parts of this. A lot of what we're looking for is just this gold towards purchasing buildings and the production towards constructing them. And so again, looking at Augustus traits, he obviously gets production for every in the capital for every town, can purchase culture buildings, and again, just added gold towards purchasing buildings in towns, so that should synergize really well with the Great Britain benefit here too of the 25% gold towards purchasing buildings. So if you're a player who really enjoys having a lot of different towns, playing very, very wide, and you want to try out the newest civ in the game, Great Britain, then I highly recommend you do so with Augustus in the modern age. All right, number 4 on our top modern age leader and civ combinations list is Xerxes the Achaemenid and the King dynasty in the modern era for a purely trade empire. So again, Xerxes the Achaemenid gives you this plus trade route limit with other leaders, and you get a lot of benefits from trading and a lot of culture and gold from those things. If we hop over here to the King, these are the kind of what you're dealing with for each imported resource. So you're getting gold, culture, and influence at the cost of science, which is a fair criticism of the King in the modern era, that you can be kind of hemorrhaging science. This is why we in particular recommend just going Han and Ming for Antiquity and Exploration Civ. Those are going to give you really good benefits towards science. So those are going to kind of set you up, at least in part, to be able to have some science already established as you go into the modern age, where again, science isn't going to be your chief priority here with the King, as I kind of just click around here trying to find them. But yeah, so what you're doing here is, this is a play style that we would really recommend for anyone, especially someone who likes to play economically. This also is something that Augustus and Great Britain are great with, but Xerxes the Achaemenid and King are also amazing for just getting as much gold as you can. This gold really will add up. Not to mention that you're getting 50 gold for every resource acquired when creating a naval trade route from here, from the Hongshang there. And one of the unique buildings also can give you gold and gold adjacency for gold buildings. Gold, 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 gold. That is a lot of the purpose of this build. You even get some science here from the Shaiguan. But a lot of this is meant to be pretty balanced. So yes, you probably aren't going to be necessarily dominating in science. If you can get ahead on certain areas, maybe you still can. But a lot of this is to play kind of all the other win conditions. You should be able to go for all three of the other legacy paths while playing this. And this is just one that I have personally had a lot of success with. And I cannot recommend enough, honestly. Number 3 on our top Modern Age Leader in Civ combinations is another new addition to the game. That's going to be Ada Lovelace, who, for those that are unfamiliar, gives you +2 science per age when you complete a civic mastery, so kind of benefits in science from having good culture, and then gaining culture equal to 50% of your total science per turn when you complete a technology mastery. So again, kind of gaining culture from science. So those two things kind of feeding off of one another. So that's really what we want to channel with this, is in particular leaning into culture, but also science in the modern age. And that is where we have landed on Mexico as the civ that we think fits best for Ada Lovelace in the modern age. Mexico in general is a great modern age civ, I think. The Revolucion is great, getting this culture, being a little bit even stronger than the normal government type here. And you get all of these different ways to snag culture with the unique buildings and the corridor here, that just makes this a cultural powerhouse. So how we recommend scaling into this is through Greece and Spain. So those should give you even more culture. You know, starting off with Greece gives you a ton of culture to start with. Then going into Spain gives you a bunch as well. And it's kind of capped off here with Mexico. So with this combination, we are leaning absolutely into the cultural side of Ada Lovelace's kind of culture science balance, but there are a lot of different ways to play this as well. There's another video we've got on the channel that Rob actually made that are the best civs for each leader, kind of with Ada Lovelace in mind. He went with Maya into Hawaii into Mexico, which I think is another interesting route if you wanted to have a little bit more science as a part of this build. I went with a little bit more of a cultural emphasis here, but again, this just speaks even more to the fact there's a lot of different ways you can play this. Either way, though, Rob and I both ended on Mexico being a great modern age civ for Ada Lovelace here. So that is our number 3 on the list. Number 2 on our top leader and civ combinations for the modern age are actually going to be Harriet Tubman and the American civ in the modern age, which she automatically unlocks. And this is actually an important detail here, because I don't think the synergy between Harriet Tubman and America is all that great. I mean, there are a few things we're going to get into that I think are pretty cool about it, but in general, the idea behind this is just taking two things that I think are very strong, that being Harriet Tubman as a leader and America in the modern age, and combining them together, and hoping that that gives us good balance and a good strong push into the modern age, kind of regardless of what else we're doing. So how I like to get there is I actually like to go in the Antiquity Age from Maya, because of the Mayan civ I think is just kind of arguably maybe the strongest civ in the entire game. And because we already have America locked in with playing Harriet Tubman, we can play Maya here and not have to really worry about what it's unlocking. It also unlocks Mexico if you end up wanting to go more of a cultural route down the line, which could be your play as well. Then I like to go Hawaii. You could also go Inca here. I did this in my Let's Play where I actually went from Maya to Inca to America, and I just don't think I would recommend Inca. Machu Picchu is great, but that's really the only part of this civ that I like, so we actually really like to go with Hawaii here, and then into America in the modern age. Again, the purpose being here is another way to play for balance. So similar to the Xerxes the Achaemenid discussion we just had, a lot of the purpose here is to be able to play any way you want. So you should have a lot of great science already kind of baked in from Maya, and Harriet Tubman is able to play a lot of different play styles, honestly, because you're doing so much espionage that you're stealing culture, you're stealing science, etc. And if you need to play more defensively on the back foot, she obviously gets her inherent war support, which is very, very strong. America kind of helps Harriet Tubman to expand in the modern age, where a lot of the game you're probably playing, like I said, a little bit more defensively, kind of poking and prodding and playing with science and culture. This allows you to really push out and gain more land. You get the prospector unit here to do this, and you just get a lot of benefits to your production and kind of industry with the industrial park with the railroad and steel mill here. You obviously also have the marine which is the unique infantry unit here that can be amphibious, can go into water, those things. But again, the idea here is pretty straightforward, that you play Harriet Tubman because she unlocks America, and then you're able to play Maya in the Antiquity Age, which in my mind gets you two of the best civs in the game in a pretty natural way. So that's why we recommend primarily Harriet Tubman and America in the Modern Age. And last but not least, we have our number one leader and civilization combination in the Modern Age. If you've enjoyed this list, I'd love to hear your comments and your feedback, and always also make sure and like and subscribe, all that good stuff. But for number one, we are going to be going to Confucius. I think he's probably been on all three of our lists here because he is just that good for science. And we're going to be playing him in the Modern Age with Meiji Japan, which I think might be the best Modern Age civ. It's at least up there. And these two pair incredibly well together, with science being the main driver and the main victory condition you're going to be going for because of the insane synergy here. So when you overbuild a building, you gain science equal to 50% of its production cost. That's great. So another way to stack science with overbuilding, which kind of comes naturally with +2 science from specialists. So your cities here, even if you play pretty wide with Confucius, as long as your cities have plenty of specialists, are all overbuilt, you're going to be reaping a ton of science rewards here, and also having a pretty good bit of balance here. You get some golden production from the unique quarter here. You get a couple unique units that can help you on kind of the militaristic side, which is always nice to have in the Modern Age. So honestly, this one just feels really, really clean, really well-rounded, and it feels like you can play this a lot of different ways. So what we like to do is we like to go, the Antiquity and Exploration civs are really just used as kind of mechanisms to get you here. So maybe starting off with the Khmer or the Maurya, I never say that correctly. And then maybe Majepsit, or yeah, pronouncing these is not going to go well for me. But this kind of being the pathway to get there. This helps you to get some balance between all of these. These are both scientific, so you're going to at least get some science there towards different things. But again, it's all about the Modern Age here, and it's all about getting you to Meiji Japan as Confucius, which we think is the number one leader and civ combination for the Modern Age. But there are clearly so many different takes on this, so many different ways you could go about building this combination. And there are some Modern Age civs that I didn't mention that are also very strong. Like I don't think we had one with the French Empire here. Another very, very strong Modern Age civ. You can make the case for a lot of different ones of these, but that's kind of half what's taken into account here, is how strong of a Modern Age civ is it? How strong are the leaders independently? What synergies can we find? Etc. So that kind of is the process for me of how I come up with these lists. But again, would be very, very open to feedback from you all. Do you hate this list? Do you love it? Are you somewhere in the middle? Drop it in the comments. As always, we really, really appreciate the support on the channel. We're almost, or maybe by the time this video comes out, we'll be around 500 subs. Really, really exciting, considering we've only been making content here for a little over a month. But that's going to do it for us here today at the Civ House. Again, this has been Connor. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And from our house to yours, we hope you'll join us for one more turn. Thanks.